Season 4 of Kinwomen ALOUD, a space for thoughtful, honest conversations between women who are living, learning and evolving together. In this season, we're exploring wisdom, not as something abstract or distant, but as an inner compass that shapes our values, our choices, and the way we move through the world, including how we relate to money and power. Join us around the table for conversations that really matter. You are our kin.
Hi, my name is Penny Webb, and I'm here with all of our Kinwomen. So we have Amanda.
Hello.
Rose Parker.
Hello.
And Kelley Chisholm.
Hello.
And we're continuing a conversation. We are quite funny. And we're continuing a conversation that clearly struck a chord. Money, money, money.
Oh, yes.
We talked honestly about...
Money, money.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful.
Must be funny. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
In a rich man's world.
All right, that's enough of that.
I thought you were going to lean in and croon.
You're the one who can actually sing, right?
Everyone sings.
In a rich man's world.
Yeah.
Interesting line.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on. We talked honestly about our relationship with money, the lessons we wish we'd learned earlier, the myths we still carry, and the habits that shape our sense of security or stress. What became very clear was that money is never just about numbers, it's very personal. And it's deeply influenced by the seasons of life we've lived through. And to begin with today, we're just going to do a check-in, though, before we get into money. So, okay, let's ask, what is your best personal buy? Kelley Chisholm. I think you should go first, and you're looking right at me.
Oh, well, I was just being involved. I was
Good
just
to know.
I'm just a participant. So I'm going to give a different one. The first tent we bought.
Yeah.
As a family, because I've never really been a tenting kind of girl. But, I had 3 sons. So I thought, okay, they all wanted to go camping. We went and bought a massive, huge canvas tent that took us 3 hours to put up with guide ropes and everything. This is back in about 1999, I think, and it cost $100.
Wow.
And that was the start of a camping journey. So I think it's like an investment. It was a great buy that we're still investing
memories,
in. Yeah,
memories.
It's cool. It's cool thinking about. Yeah.
Okay, Rosie?
When you say best, do you mean...
However you want it.
However you want it. However you interpret this, Rose.
Oh, there's so many different answers. If my financial advisor was here asking you what's your best personal buy, it would be the block of land that I bought at an auction that I built my house on. That was scary and risky, but I'd done my research and I knew it was a great purchase and a great investment. But my recent purchase that's been my best personal buy is my vintage Italian leather boots that I bought in Melbourne that I got for what ended up being less than 10% of their actual value. They're unbelievable. So
are they comfy?
Oh, they're so good.
Good job. I like that.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. So there's 2 extremes.
Italian leather. Buy once, buy best.
Okay, Amanda.
Okay, so I think my best recent purchase is my grandma passed away and she left me like a little inheritance, and I decided I was going to use that money to take my husband back to where he was born and to take our family there, and we spent a month there. And we always said, it's too expensive, taking a whole family back to South Africa, like just trying to work it out. It was too expensive. Best decision I've ever made. The kids talk about his upbringing. Yeah. The kids talk about his memories. We spent a month with his Oma, his 92-year-old Oma, cooking in her kitchen, swimming in her lake, and it was a cool memory. So I'll never regret spending that money to go and visit her.
Beautiful.
Well, I think I'm extremes too, because furniture is something that I treasure, and I've actually been handed some lovely pieces from my family. But the 2 great purchases we made early on in our marriage was we bought 2 leather couches, which are just gorgeous. So this is like 33 years ago now, and they're still fabulous. But actually most of the rest of the house is secondhand furniture, and I found these 2 great 70s chairs which are just perfect, and the upholstery is still great. $5 each, out the back of nowhere, and just sort of like brought them home. I love it when I get a good bargain like that. Anyway,
isn't that fun? Yeah.
So good to kind of hear about your best personal buys. So today we're taking the next step. This conversation is about what really helped us manage our money, not in theory, but in real life. We're going to tell some of our stories, the moments, the seasons that have shaped us, times of survival. As always, it's not expert advice. Please know that. This is our lived wisdom shared openly, so that if you're listening and thinking, oh, this feels familiar, you know you're not alone. And that there are practical, gentle places you can begin. So we're glad you're here. We are Kinwomen, and you are definitely our kin. So my first question is, what personal circumstance most shaped the way you handle money today? And how did it force you to adapt, or did it need to? So, Kelley, I think you're going to start this one. What personal circumstance most shaped the way you handle today?
I'd suggest the home I grew up in is what shaped me. And I grew up with this dad who was always optimistic about money. His saying was always, plenty more where that came from. And it was that sense of never of lack. And that didn't mean that we always had money. May I just say, sometimes we didn't, but it was no fear of money. Money wasn't the dictator of fun and joy, and he used to say, plenty more where that came from, which was the idea that, tomorrow's a new day and we'll turn this around. So I think it gave me a sense of delayed gratification though, because it didn't mean you had to have it today, because it was like, oh, wait, it's coming. So that was a really nice thing. But then it was also be generous with whatever you've got in your hand, because that's not going to mean you have less. So he could share what we had today, as little as that was, he'd give it away, because there was that sense, plenty more where that came from, and you can wait to get your little special something tomorrow. So I think that's how I see money still. Yeah. I still see it like that.
Yeah, I think our roots have a lot to say about money for us. I mean, I grew up in I would say a privileged home. My parents both worked hard, employment. They were always volunteering. They were hugely generous with money and their time. I mean, I didn't want for anything, even though they were not silly when they were raising us. I didn't want for anything, which I got married young, and I just remember thinking, okay, we got this. Well, the answer is we didn't quite have it. and I married a guy who came from a total opposite background. So when he did earn money eventually, he would come home with something, and I say, why have we got this? He goes, because I can buy it.
Yeah.
And in some way
that's impact, right?
Yeah. So in some way we weren't helpful for one another, because I'm overly generous, and let's do it, let's have it, and we were both like that in one way. He came from a different reason to me, which, it's just interesting when two people come together. So in one way we weren't helpful because we weren't great at saving. We weren't great at saving, but that's, but we were very generous.
Oops.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not sustainable.
Especially with our family. Like we invested so much in good memories, But Amanda, what about you?
Yeah, I think now looking back on it, I would never have thought it. But now I know that we just didn't have a lot of money, because my family just were solo businesses. They just always had businesses, and you were reliant upon the market and what the market was doing. So it came and went,
the rolling flux of what you'd have in your home.
Yeah. But the thing that I learnt from that is that there's money to be made. And I reckon my mum's probably had 5 different businesses growing up. My mum, I'd wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and cakes were being baked for her bakery, and then suddenly we're in industrial sewing machines and we're making bathers and we're all laughing about that. And then we're in a fabric warehouse and we're rolling up fabric, and I made my dresses and my clothes. And
Wow.
then my mum was a clown, and we would be driving places and she was dressed as a clown. And then multi-level marketing came in with a vengeance, and we had every kind of Amway product, and then there was Nutrimetics, and I could do like a comedy show from it. But my mum is amazing. She will make money from anything, and
she
her
gave
recent
you that,
purchase,
right? She gave you that.
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
what my sister and I and my brother are like. We're just really able to have a go and not be ridiculous, but actually do a really good job of there's money to be made. There is. I think we back ourselves into a corner, you know. My mum's recent purchase is a freeze drying machine. So this
Yep.
Christmas, no joke, it's like, you get freeze-dried lollies, you get freeze-dried lollies. And there's like a freeze-dried lolly factory in my mum's back room. Like,
Fantastic.
yeah,
It's
70
becoming
and
quite
still,
a trend.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
on that trend.
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
she's very much
She's on that
preparing
trend.
for the apocalypse, but it's awesome.
What about you, Rose? What personal circumstances most shape the way you handle money?
Well, it's real interesting listening to you all talk about your families of origin and how that shaped you, but because, of course, I had many. But I'll just share the two extremes. So I was raised in an orphanage till I was 10, so I had no possessions of my own. I had no toys, nothing, and clothes were secondhand that were given out of a cupboard. But then at 13, when I went to live with my foster family, Daddy was a self-employed Frio businessman, right? So I got jettisoned into a middle-class Australian family with, similar to you, Kel, Dad used to say things like, money's made round to go round, and you can't take it with you when you're gone. And he was a really hard-working man, but he was generous with it. And money was not the be-all and end-all. No. It was a people, and family money was a tool and a resource, but you had to work hard. And he taught me, all of us, you can do anything you put your mind to. So that was phenomenal for me to get jettisoned into that, and that's absolutely shaped me. The scarcity, I think, early on in my childhood is also part of what I have taken and applied wisdom to and healing to, and it is part of my fierce independence.
Yeah,
Great.
your desire for fierce independence around financial matters.
It's what propelled me to university.
Yeah.
I did not want to leave high school at 15 because I knew it would limit my options. I got to 17, I got to uni, I wanted to have a professional career because it would give me autonomy and agency, and it has.
Fantastic. Okay.
Love it.
Okay, one simple habit or mindset shift that made the greatest impact on your financial confidence or stability, Rose?
I'm going to follow straight on from that because it was my active decision to become a health professional. Like I wanted to do something to help people, but I wanted a profession. I wanted tools put in my own hands that no one else could ever take away from me. So I knew I'd be responsible for my own income and my own life, and then I would have choice of where I went and what I did. And that has been, life-changing.
I think mine, and I'll come because I know you guys have got lots of great stuff in this one. I think the one simple mindset shift for me actually came out of a few seasons of hardship, health issues in our family and everything else, and then now being financially, I'm singled, and for me it was actually really putting myself in the driver's seat and setting myself up, hosting an Airbnb. And it comes down to, don't just think that it's limited, your income is limited, like really putting yourself in the driver's seat.
And coming up with,
And you've
which is
done
a
an
bit like
amazing
yours.
job, Pen.
Knowing,
Which is a bit of your kind of idea, Mans, isn't it? That there's
But
options.
Yeah, but I think they're coupled with values, right? And that's the beauty of this series and what wisdom looks like. So what's really interesting for me is I grew up in an environment where money was to be made, and there was a lot of movement around that, and you can do anything and there's no such word as can't. But we also lived very generously. So my mum's house became a house of hope for pregnant women, and Our door was always open, and generosity was a really big thing. So when you couple those two things together, you can make money, but you give it away, give it away, give it away, give it away now. I am really bad at charging what I'm worth in business. Really bad, because I come out of a ministry mindset and a generosity mindset, and trying to shape a way to be generous, to make money, but to also sit in the value of who I am as a woman.
I was going to say, know your worth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so for me, the lesson that I've learned in that is having good business mentors. And so having people that come around from an accountability point of view and go, okay, don't be really ridiculous, but you're actually worth this. So often time is money, and I give away my time so easily. And I want to be generous. We're here volunteering today.
Yeah.
But I choose to do that. But then there are other times when I choose to know my worth.
So you've had to learn that little
Yeah.
shift. Yeah, I think I was growing up with this no fear of money. I've just kept practicing that. So I ran little businesses from the time I was at uni. You know, I was always running my little business on the side, my little micro businesses running along, and whenever a problem came up, I can whip out and make some money here. And I think about it was the era when you could buy houses, right back when I was, say, in my 30s, 40s, but I had like 3 houses at one point with basically no income. But, you know, people would have said, you know, should you do it again? Oh, don't worry about it. It's going to work out. I'm going to take a
Wow.
risk here. I'm going to have someone. I couldn't even have people. I bought a house that was condemned. So I couldn't
that
even
the
have
big old
someone.
wooden one?
That was the one in Guildford. No one
Right.
could even live in it. So I was paying it without even
Getting an
anything income. And then I had another one in Darlington that I was doing the same. And then I had another one in Glenbrook. So I was always juggling. But I've always enjoyed it because I'm not scared about it. I don't advocate it for everyone to do it the same way. But it was a kind of a shift. I always had it from a girl, and I just always lived in it. You know, I still kind of do today.
Okay. Think about a period of survival. What got you through? What changed when you finally had breathing
Maybe I
room?
should go again off the back of my houses one
Okay.
because I also lived in the 1980s when interest rates went to 17 to 19%.
We all.
It
Oh,
was
yeah, absolutely.
crazy. And we had to sell the house because we actually just couldn't afford it, you know, and we didn't buy it. We had bought it at the bottom of the market. So we weren't, you know, we'd bought a house for $33,000. That was our first house. So we weren't living the high life, but I couldn't afford it. And so I sold the house. And but, you know, during that time it was so desperate at one point that I was selling furniture every week to just pay baby formula. It was like a tough patch. But I always had these 2 thoughts in my head. One was radical acceptance. You've got to radically accept your situation, not put your head in the sand. So I always was into that. Look at it, be honest. But then I had this optimism. Don't worry about it. Tell you where that came from. It'll run around. So that was a kind of, I think that's how I kind of got
Well,
through
Rose,
that
you were
period.
around in the 90s too.
Is that late 80s? Yeah, it was a great couple of
early
years.
19%. You know, it was buckle down. We rode it through, but we were both working as health professionals. But it was, and relied on family to help look after children, and you know, it was tough. But we rode that one out, and just increased your work hours, pulled in your spending. But I would like the survival mode lesson that I've really learnt. I talked earlier on about at the end of, and it's been at the end of a relationship, and for me it's been relationships. Serial monogamist here. So the first relationship with that ended, I took my little seed money and bought a car. But when the third relationship ended, I took my seed money, and guess what I bought, girls?
A house.
You bet. And I was on my own, and I was too scared to buy a house and have a big mortgage on my own. So I bought an investment property on some good advice to put a tenant in, so that I had a tenant, you know, paying and I buffered it, and I still own that property today. And that was a great thing to do in survival mode. So I was too scared to buy a house and be fully responsible for a mortgage with a 15-year-old son. So I made a good choice, and yeah.
I think of that saying that people say, loss sharpens your vision, and suddenly what matters becomes clear. You've had times of loss.
Oh yeah.
Well, my loss of separating, which was 4 years ago now, it takes some time, and what matters actually really becomes clear, especially when it comes to finances, but particularly my finances very, very early on, because I wanted to keep the family home. And I had to get some things in place, and it was hard yakka, I can tell you. And you know what? I don't feel quite like I've got breathing room yet, but the choice to keep, and that's because of the choice to keep the family home, and I have no regrets there whatsoever. But I think back yourself with good advice when loss happens.
Yeah.
And it has that potential to sharpen vision. Allow it to.
Yes.
I think is really important.
And as we've said earlier episodes, as long as you're don't make big decisions like that out of fear. Out of fear, In this money podcast I was referring to, and in the book, they talk about big financial decisions being made that are emotionally driven. And she said, get advice and get it commercially sound advice. Let your big decisions be commercially driven. So I'm so glad you held your home.
And they're not
It was
all
hard, though,
commercially driven. Can I just say there are definitely emotions in there. And I would be really silly to say that there weren't personal emotions and drivers in that decision. But I knew that I possibly could. And I did get good advice. And it was sharpening my, why? And some of that was personal. This is the family home, all the stories in there. But it was actually, I wanted this home for the future of the family as well. That was my reason.
So that's not just emotionally driven, that's values driven. I was talking about emotion of like a fear particularly. It would have been easier for you at one point, Penny, to go, this
totally
is too hard, I'm running,
just selling.
I'm running,
Yes.
I'm going.
Yes.
And you didn't.
Yeah.
And
You've got to sometimes stand. I mean, I know when we had to sell our house there back in the 1980s, late 1980s, I had to think, what am I going to do? And I thought the biggest risk at this point is that any money we've made will be gone because we're in a tough little road. So what I did was I bought a block of land so that the funds would be sitting there, and that in the future that the nest egg hasn't been lost.
It's an asset.
And that was
debt.
the one that we leveraged off
Great.
to buy again. So again, it's that, as you say, it's not being fearful, getting great advice, and then actually trusting in your values and what you can
backing
do.
yourself. Amanda, do you want to say anything in this?
I think I'm just sitting listening to you girls. I'm in quite a different generational difference, and I know that right now there's a lot of economic challenge as well, and we face some of those same times. But realistically, the only economic challenge I've really faced is just like cars can be such a pain in the rear end. Like,
Cars.
yeah, and just like it's like this big
Reliability.
Yeah, to be reliable and to find ways. And, I think this is the first time. So I've been driving for 30 years, and this year's the first time that I've had a new car. And so it's taken me a long time to get to that point where that sense of stability in that. But I just remember being on the side of the road crying and just like, I'm never going to be able to, how do I buy another car? This car's just blown up, on stock road, my whole car on fire, like cars have just always,
didn't it?
Yeah,
cars
I've just always had a bad deal with cars. So I don't have wisdom for it, but
Okay.
it's an area of finance that we need to face and find ways to do it well.
What conversation, resource, person helped you break out of financial confusion or avoidance? I reckon Rose.
A friend
It's a funny thing you did this.
encouraged me to do something so opposite to what I wanted to do. I got dragged there kicking and screaming. I went to not one weekend, but 2 entire weekends. Whole weekends, like Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday, the whole thing, a financial investment and wealth creation seminar.
I really think that's a cracker.
That's hilarious for you,
boring. I
Rose.
was like, oh my God. It was phenomenal. I've still got the books. So it's what I learnt.
Yeah.
I learnt about real estate and how to purchase real estate and what to look for and checklists. And it's what we've talked about before. upskilled myself. It was like having a hard drive and just downloading information. And it was fun. I got to do skits. You know, I got to be a bit creative.
Oh, yeah.
I probably sang a song. In fact, I think I did. Didn't write one.
Love it.
But, yeah.
I'm sure they loved having you in the room. Yeah, they would have.
That advice has woven itself through my entire life and still is to this day.
Amanda.
I got to do my Australian Institute of Company Directors course 2 years ago, and I learnt so much. I spent a week in situ with company directors and sat and learnt about risk. I learnt about budget management. I learnt so many different components.
You've talked a bit about investment lately.
Yeah, and maybe that's another component of that. But I finished it. I did all of the exams and the studies and graduated. But yeah, it's the kind of thing that I don't think I would have done on my own. And doing it has really impacted me. So gain knowledge.
Given you confidence,
Yeah.
not necessarily because that's what the purpose of the course is at all, but really it's kind of gone, okay, I feel it's knowledge, but not necessarily for your personal circumstances, but it's an overflow of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really interesting.
Wisdom, knowledge, just being in environments where people know more than you.
Oh, I love it.
And being uncomfortable in that, you know. And so that was a real core component.
Kel, do you have anything to say?
Oh,
here?
I'd just say the home I grew up in, I mean, that's really what made the most, that there was this confronting when we didn't have anything. We lived the highs of living in City Beach, quite a well-to-do suburb back in the 60s, with I remember a white Fairmont and a white Fairlane with leather interior and electric windows in this beautiful big home. And I remember overnight the truck coming, packing up what we had, and we all had to get into the truck because the cars had gone. And we were off to a suburb that was less salubrious in Perth, and we had no electricity. And we were just moved in and started that life. And, and then my dad ran these small businesses but became quite large businesses. So interesting enough, all of my siblings are really good around money. All have been and aren't, all kind of take risks about it, but also are very good with it. So I think it was that. I think it was that experience. And, I think I feel really grateful for it,
Yeah.
Wow. It's great. It's both knowledge and flexibility in that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Being
and
adaptable.
Being adaptable.
And being ready to be adaptable quickly.
Yeah. And I think for me, I was been thinking about this. Circumstances for me have driven me over time and caused me to study more, which is what you were talking about. So, and I was a mature studier, and I think that's really given me confidence and girded me.
Yeah.
And I've always worked. And the one thing that I would say to women is don't ever let anyone take care of you with money or control you with money, because that person can leave. They could hurt you.
Be poor at it.
They
be
could,
bad at it.
They could hurt you, and you may need to leave. So always keep your job. And this is not about having a big job with big money. This is always having you earn some money. It doesn't have to be a lot, but it is your power. So, and you can use your money to contribute to your family. That's not what I'm saying, but you're contributing, and you're not putting it all into the hands of another.
And it doesn't have to be a big job. I think that's the thing. It doesn't. It can just be something that's keeping your hand.
Probably the one thing I would say is earn your money. I think, Rose, that's a big thing for you.
Massively.
Yeah.
Girls, this is my 40th year of being an occupational therapist
Wow.
and running my own private practice.
Yeah, wow.
Well done.
Isn't that
fantastic.
I opened my first business on the 1st of July 1986.
Wow,
I went
Rosie.
and took out a small business loan that my then husband had to sign off on as well. Hello. Glad that time's changed. But, yeah, and I was scared. I trusted in my own skills, and I think I took out a $16,000 business loan to buy the plant and equipment at Perfections.
Perfections, I remember Perfections.
And here I am. So the way my business looks has changed, but I love what I do. And, put myself in the driver's seat very early on. Can I share a quote from the fabulous Goldie Hawn?
Go Goldie.
Okay.
Who was has built a career on being the ditzy blonde, but man, is she smart. She's been with her man, Kurt Russell, for how long? And they are not married. They've never chosen to marry, all right? So, but they're such a solid, rock-solid couple. This is what Goldie said in the 70s. If every woman was independent, if she had her own money and her own understanding of how to use it and her own resources, then we get to choose, and it creates an entire freedom, because then you have a base you have made for yourself and you don't have to ask, beg or request. So that actually makes me teary saying that, because I guess I'm thinking of a little girl that had to ask for everything she was given. So I was propelled into being independent in my own work and resources. And it's a lovely gift to have to share with my family and to have that stewardship of those resources now and share it with other people.
Okay, we're going to bring this to a close.
Yeah.
If another woman were facing a big financial situation today, what is the one practical thing you tell her to do first? Kelley?
I just think the tendency is to completely contract, right, and think I have to reduce my whole life, which you may have to do. So especially in the short term. But I think I'd say to her, and I remember saying to myself when we had nothing at that point, that you've got to still think there are possibilities here. And I'm going to have to find them because I have to find them. I can't stay in this situation. It may be some little options along the way, but I'd say keep entertaining possibilities because if all you do is contract, it actually is a mountain you just can't get out from underneath of. So that's be wise and you do, but don't only contract. Look for possibilities for change.
Yeah. And mine would be tell the truth. So just get really honest.
With a couple of people?
Yep. Safe people. Like just tell the truth and get creative.
Yeah, same. I would say don't hide it away. Put it out in the open. Put yourself in the driver's seat. Get advice. Get a plan and start right now.
Yeah.
Know how much it costs you to open the front door of your home.
Yeah. Don't avoid. That would be mine.
No.
Look at the pros, look at the cons, and then make decisions and back yourself. Yeah. Oh, money. Gosh, it's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
It's fantastic. We don't talk about much. It was really interesting to talk about.
Yeah. That brings us to the end of today's conversation. A heartfelt thank to my friends Rose, Amanda and Kelley for sharing so openly and courageously lived experiences. If you're listening and recognising yourself in any part of this conversation, we want you to know you are not alone. Money confidence doesn't come from perfection. We'd all say yes.
Yes.
It grows because we know, we're aware, we have support, and we make small, steady, gentle steps during real seasons. So we hope you leave today feeling a little bit more capable and gently encouraged. And whatever that looks like for you, you can do it. So we are your Kinwomen, and you are our kin.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us here on Kinwomen ALOUD. If today's conversation resonated with you, we'd love you to subscribe, share the episode, or pass it on to someone who might need to hear it. These conversations grow when they're shared. Thank you to our sound engineer, Mark Ralph from Elemental Sound, and to our producer, Natalie Kellner from Mindful Marketing, who helps bring these conversations to life. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Kinwomen and visit us online at kinwomen.com. Until next time, you are our kin.